And over the years, you've had to remain silent to keep the peace with your wife. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, baby. Okay. All right. Yep. That's fine. No. Well, what's wrong? You don't want to say anything? No, it's cool. It's good. And yet, it was like, all starting in the belly of your stomach, but now it's really like right here, all the stuff you wanted to say, you about to throw up, do it after 10 years, 20 years of marriage. It might take a while for that change to happen, right? You're just now doing this for the first time. You don't know what you're doing. She's seeing you trying to step up, so she's going to try and fight for the power again in some type of way. And that's what happens. But you got to speak your piece, man. You got to say what's on your heart and get it off your chest. Otherwise, it's going to be a problem. Fellas, so what if your divorce wasn't meant to destroy you, but it was actually meant to build you and develop you? Because most people that I know that have been divorced, including myself, like I felt like my whole life was falling apart. But what if that thing actually was just falling into place? So, what I want to talk about today is how divorce can turn into discipline that develops you. So, if you're curious, like, comment, subscribe, and we're just going to jump right into this thing. The reason why I like to talk about this is because divorce is hard. It's not an easy thing. And once people go through that, broken, done. Not everyone, but a lot of men feel that pain. So, but sometimes that divorce could be the best thing for you. I've talked about this in other videos. You're gonna have to go back and look. And I think the title was like, why divorce is like the best thing, something like that. Can't remember for sure. But it can really build you up. So here's why. One thing I want to talk about is learning how to sit with your emotions instead of trying to run from them. And the reason why is because your divorce is going to make you face your grief, guilt, shame, anger, frustrations, all those different things, right? And it's like you can try to run from all of that, but no matter how far you run, you can get on a plane, take off, go to Zimbabwe, okay? And guess what's going to be waiting there for you? Anger, grief, pain, shame. And then guess what's going to be waiting for you when you come back? Anger, grief, pain, shame. All that stuff will still be waiting for you if you do not take the time to work on it. So why not learn how to sit in it now? Why not learn how to go through it, all the pain, all the drama, all the issues, all those things that you've been trying to run from? Why not do it now? Because the last thing you want to do is like 5 months later, 6 months later, a year later, there's an opportunity for you to have another relationship and you fumble the bag because you didn't take care of your issue, you didn't take care of your anger, your pride, your shame, your guilt. And that stuff translates to the other female in your life. Like, do it now. And so it's like this is an opportunity for you to take the time instead of going around anger, pride, shame, guilt. You get to take those things head on and knock them off of your list and being like, all right, this is an area that I struggled with, but I finally got it together. So I'm not going to let this thing hold me down. Right. It all depends on how you look at it. If you hold on to that divorce as a negative thing, then yeah, guilt, shame, you're going to be wondering, oh, I should have done this. I should have done that. Yeah, maybe. But don't let it consume you, right? You can dwell in it for a day, two, whatever, but get over it because you just got to work on now knowing that you're trying to get better so that you do not stay and remain the person that you were in your last marriage, okay? So the one thing that I've had to do is I had to speak on these things. The word really, it talks about speaking the word of God, right? When you're confessing something, you can speak life or death, right? Life and death is on the power of the tongue, and you get to pick or choose which one you want. If you want to speak life, you can speak life. If you want to speak death, you can speak death. And you can pick and choose the time and the place to do that. So after divorce, most people speak death. They speak on their ex and how terrible she was and what she did and all these different things. And you might speak death over your life, like, oh, I was bad. I shouldn't have done this. I was terrible. I could have been a better father. All those things may be true, right? But the difference is there's life that you can speak over it. Like, I am a good father. I am a good person. I really do desire to do well. And then you just start working at doing those things so that your words line up with your actions, right? That's all it is trying to line those two things up together. So speak about those things, but change the way you speak, right? Don't say the negative stuff. Speak the positive stuff. What were you good at? Were you good at anything? And if you were good at those things, hold on to that and continue to say, like, hey, I'm going to get better. I'm going to be better than this. I am better than this. I am stronger than this. I am more powerful than this. And it's like people may not believe in, oh, the power of confession, but those are people to me that just don't do it. But then again, you do have to line your actions up. So you can't just say it and keep living the way you're living. You got to speak it and then actively try to apply the truth on what you're saying, right? Because you know it's already inside of you. You just got to activate it. So Also, after divorce, you can learn to rebuild your voice. And over the years, you've had to remain silent to keep the peace with your wife. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, baby. Okay. All right. Yep. That's fine. No. Well, what's wrong? You don't want to say anything? No, it's cool. It's good. And yet, it was like, all starting in the belly of your stomach, but now it's really like right here, all the stuff you wanted to say, you're about to throw up, you know, and because you lost your voice almost in that sense, like you tried to do your best to keep the peace in your home, not knowing that you're just making it harder. And so now you can really like work on developing this area of your life again. And honestly, it's not just the things that you did not say, but it's also the things that how you said it, your delivery, right? All those things are just as important. It's like I tell this to me and my wife talk about this all the time. Like if Kevin Hart and Cat Williams got a joke, right, from a random person, and you got the same joke too, if you told a joke on stage in front of 10,000 people, it may not hit the right way if you just told it, right? But if Kevin Hart or Cat Williams or Dave Chappelle does it, they get on stage and tell the joke, they are going to get people laughing. Why? Dave Chappelle has a different tone and delivery in how he says it. Cat Williams has a different tone and delivery, and Kevin Hart has a different tone and delivery. So if the same joke can be told, but yet three different people can say it in a way that's going to get the crowd to laugh and then don't get you to laugh, your tone and delivery are extremely important, right? So at the end of the day, if you've been silent because you're trying to keep the peace, now you can record your voice and how you just change that for the next person so you don't sound so timid, so like weak, right? It's like learn how to work on your assertiveness. Don't be so passive, don't be so aggressive, and whatever it is, but work on your tone. You know what I used to do, and I would encourage you to do it, record yourself. A lot of people do this when they're doing voiceovers, do voiceover classes. I did those a long time ago. But any like broadcasters, they practice their pitch, they practice their voice, they practice those things. Spend some time really learning how to take your conversation to a different level so that people respect you a little bit more, right? So you don't have to cower over to try to keep the peace, quote unquote, because you're not saying anything. No, learn how to deliver your tone, learn how to keep the pitch right, learn how to just deliver right so that you can say what you need to say to try to minimize the drama, right? It's inside of you to do it, but you just don't say anything thinking that it's helping, and it's actually doing a lot more damage than you think it is. Um, Also, your focus, it can sharpen a lot more because now the distraction is gone, right? The distraction, your ex-wife, that's gone. So now you don't have anyone in your ear anymore, right? It's just you. So divorce clears out a lot of noise, a ton of noise, and it shows you how much time you spent people pleasing. I did for such a long time trying to please my ex and doing everything. Like I thought that was what I was supposed to do as a man, but I realized she actually devalued me because I did that, because I wouldn't step up and do these things. And I thought that was what I'm supposed to do, like just agree and make things better, like so we ain't got to argue. But because I wasn't willing to argue, because I wasn't willing to go through the fire in these areas, she just got away with whatever she wanted and she knew she could, right? And I just let it happen and it made me bitter. That's where pornography came into play for me because I just didn't know how to say anything. And my release was just to go watch porn and call it a day, right? But here I am recognizing over all these years, like that was me. Was it perfect in what she did? Heck no. But I also know that I did have a voice and I just didn't use it. So I was able to, once that distraction was gone, I was able to really start working on myself and figuring out what I needed to do to get back in order again. So all I would say for you is to think of 2 to 3 habits for yourself that revolved around your ex, right? And then replace them with things that are very intentional, very purposeful, very driven, purposeful, driven routines that you can do for yourself, right? Even some activities. It's just like, how do you get yourself to focus on something new, right? Well, you got to put some new thoughts in your mind, right? If you did these things as a customary thing, you would do this with your ex and do this with your ex, and you're still doing it today. Stop doing some of those things. Create some new standards for yourself. Find something purposeful. What is the thing that you really would enjoy to do for a living that you would do for free? And focus on those things. Find some activities. You like to play basketball, go to the gym, do some of those things, but do something that's different maybe from what you used to do with your ex. Clear your head a little bit, get some of those distractions out of the way, and get yourself into a new place that will help you to propel yourself to create some new focus, right? The next thing that you will do, and how divorce can turn to discipline, is that you will learn how to stop negotiating your standards. Men lower their standards to keep a woman happy or to avoid conflict. Now, I've listened to people from MGTOW, and they're so bitter, they're so hurt, crying about women, complaining about women, and even the guys in the comments here will be crying and complaining about women all the time. Not everybody does, but the ones you know who you are. If you're listening to this right now, it's like, yeah, it's her fault. It could be, but are you going to ever take any ownership? All right, let me not go off here, right? But you can stop negotiating your standards. There is a way to do these things, and it's just it might be rough. It might be a rough patch for you, because if you've never done it before and now you're trying to do it after 10 years, 20 years of marriage, it might take a while for that change to happen, right? You're just now doing this for the first time. You don't know what you're doing. She's seeing you trying to step up, so she's going to try and fight for the power again in some type of way. And that's what happens. But you got to speak your piece, man. You got to say what's on your heart and get it off your chest. Otherwise, it's going to be a problem. So the best thing you could do is to write down at least 3 to 5 non-negotiables for yourself. How you plan on living, leading, learning, loving, all those things. Like, what are those things that you say are important, and stick to them? They're non-negotiables, right? So again, this isn't a bad thing. If you're learning how to love better, if you're learning how to lead better, if you're learning how to, do all these things, like, there's nothing wrong with it, but just don't be a jerk in saying these things. Again, delivery, tone, pitch, all that stuff's important. But find those things that are non-negotiable. Stand on business. Me and my boy just talked. Is you standing on your 10 toes. That's it. Stand on business. 10 toes sunk into the ground, right? And you ain't moving. So you have the power to do that, but make it make sense what you're going to do. Like, oh, I'm going to do this and I'm going to cheat on you. I'm going to cheat and I'm standing on business. No, don't do that. That's just pure stupidity, right? Things that are actually life-changing that will benefit you and your wife, because you understand it's helpful, but you just got to get your voice back. And then understanding that discipline is love. Okay. So just because you get disciplined or children get disciplined, as we grew up, we didn't understand that discipline was a good thing, but I'm glad my parents did. It kept me right as the years went on over my life. And I started to understand, they kept me from a lot of things, man. I could have been myself into a lot of problems if it wasn't for them. At the time, I didn't understand it, but now it makes so much sense, and I'm grateful because it kept me close to God. It kept me rooted. Yeah, I made some stupid mistakes, but they didn't kill me. They didn't take me out. And here I am standing to this day to talk to you guys about these things, to say for yourself, do the same thing, And so it's like, if you care enough about your future, you're going to prove it to yourself, right? Through discipline. Be disciplined. Do you care about your future enough to stay disciplined, to focus on the things that you desire to do? Well, pick one area in your life: faith, finances, fitness, stuff like that, and just create 21-day commitment. It can even be 30 days, right? People say 21 days to create a habit. Do a month. Give yourself something and just commit yourself to it. Am I capable of doing this thing? Get a calendar. You can use Google Calendar. You have something on the wall. Day 1, I'm going to do this. And day 2, it's the same thing. Do the same thing for 30 days, 21 days. And if you feel like that's too much, just start at a week. Can you do it for at least a week? Try. But create some discipline, because if you are willing to be disciplined in these areas, you know that you love yourself and you care about your family to remain disciplined as well too. If you keep second guessing and keep changing things, then no one's going to believe you anymore. And if you're not disciplined enough, then your trust is going to be lost. They will not believe these things anymore. And that's the last thing you want, is for your wife to not trust you, or your future wife to not trust you. And so it's like, what do you need to do to create that discipline for yourself? So you can say you can stick to it. Again, 7 days, 14 days, doesn't have to be 30 days, but 30 days is like real commitment. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's something like, that's heavy, but I believe that you're capable of doing that, but you just got to put your mind to it, So one thing I got to do here is read this one scripture, and we're going to get up out of here. Hebrews 12:11 from the Passion Translation. And it says, "Now all discipline seems to be painful at the time, yet later it will produce a transformation of character, bringing a harvest of righteousness and peace to those who yield it." And so again, that's why it's so important. Get discipline. It's not easy at the time, but later it will produce a transformation of character, bringing a harvest of righteousness and peace to those who yield it. So on that note, you guys, if you like this information, leave some information. Tell me one thing that you learned in this process, or one thing that you'd like to try. What do you believe that you can do to give yourself a new discipline? What is that thing that you're going to try for the week, for the month, or whatever the case it is? Leave it in the comment below, because I'd love to know what it is. Maybe it's something I want to try too. And again, if you like this information, I got some stuff for you in the right down here below. My coaching program, which I talk about, not a lot, but I think it'd be good for you guys to take a look at this stuff. I have a lot of information I want to share. So in the meantime, take care, and we'll talk soon. Peace.